Hey guys, and welcome back to another free plugin Friday, where we look at plugins that are free that you can use in your productions. Now today, you may have seen already for that little bit of intro, we are looking at a new plugin from Cymatics, the Origin plugin. And this is basically a vintage emulator. It's a lo-fi plugin. It's designed to get lo-fi sounds. Now I think it's probably coming from a hip-hop background, but it's generally just a lo-fi plugin. I think it's inspired by a lot of the kind of lo-fi stuff going on in modern hip-hop at the moment, but you can use it on all kinds of stuff. Lo-fi, some dance, you could use it in your rock tracks. It's just a special effect. Really kind of cool. So let's just go through the features. We're going to put it on this song that you heard in the beginning. It's just a copyright-free song, just to go through the features, and then we'll try it on some individual sources, because generally with this kind of lo-fi thing, you're either doing it as an effect on the mix, or you're doing it as a weird kind of effect on a specific thing in the mix, you know, as part of that kind of ear candy deal. So let's just have a look at it. So the main thing is this resampler, right? So it goes up to sample rate of 44.1. Now I'm running at 48. So this is just automatically going to downsample, but you're probably not going to hear that. That's going to sound pretty close to 48, right? 44.1 is probably what you're listening to on YouTube anyway. So you're not going to hear it there. And as you go down, we are resampling all the way down to 44 hertz, which is like, you know, not really usable sample rate. Now, what's really cool about this is the pre and post filtering. So if you don't know much about how sampling works, like digital sampling, like digital conversion, basically you need a filter to stop aliasing noise at certain points. And a lot of old hardware in the 70s and 80s had a lot of aliasing because the filters weren't steep enough, they weren't good enough, or they were really dark because the filters cut into the sound, especially at lower sample rates, like down at 22 and stuff. I think 20 kilohertz was where a lot of reverbs. I've got my MIDI-verb 2, that was 20 kilohertz, so it does darken everything. So you have the filters here, the post and pre filters, right? But you can turn them off, and that's what gives you that bit crush sample rate reduction sound. It's all that aliasing that comes from resampling. And people always say bit crushes, and most of the time the sounds you're hearing is actually sample rate aliasing. It's bit crushing has its own thing. It's generally just increases the noise a lot. And I am not necessarily a fan of like 4-bit sounds. It just doesn't work. Whereas the kind of resample thing, you'll hear it in a lot of Daft Punk, you hear it in a lot of kind of 90s stuff. They use it a lot. In the 80s, you can hear it more naturally, as in hardware and stuff, that's more subtle. So that's basically what it does. It also has a high pass filter. So here is your kind of lo-fi section. So if we just play this track, I'm going to turn everything else off. We can hear this section. So not that different. So this is without the filters off. So this is kind of the aliasing part of it, right? You start to hear it here. So really cool effect. You would have heard that, like I said, in Daft Punk. There's a couple of tracks that have got that very prominently used there. So the pre-sample filter helps reduce the aliasing, but doesn't necessarily get rid of it. The post-sampling is a filter afterwards. And what that means is as you go down, the Nyquist goes down too, and you get this low-pass filter effect. So let's check out the pre-sampling first. If you compare it to with the pre-off, a lot more distortion, a lot more high end. Let's go something a bit more normal, I guess. Seems quite different, very crunchy with it off. little bit smoother, but you've still got all these aliasing artifacts. Okay, now what about post? This is just post on its own. You'll hear this is a filter. But you've still got some of that crunchy distortion, you've just got a filter after it. And with them on together, let's go down pretty low. It's just a smooth low pass filter at that point. You're not going to get any of those aliasing artifacts. And of course, this is just a high pass filter. So if we cut up, let's just cut up to here for our point, right? It's a fairly steep high pass filter. So you put them together. You got two filters, right? If you take off the post, take off the pre maybe. Fairly crunchy filter. So that's kind of the main kind of filtery part of the plugin. That's the kind of that side of the vintage stuff. Now the other sides are more routed in the 60s, 70s kind of vibes. So you've got saturation, you've got noise, you've got movement and chorus. So saturation has a tube and drive mode. Drive is a little smoother, more distortion-y. Tube is very tubey. So we can go through them. I'll just talk about the other ones first. You've got noise, where you've got all these different noises, and what you can do is put it before or after the filters. So before is going to sound like you're sampling some noisy track, like you've got some vinyl maybe, and you put it through an old sampler with a reduced sample rate. And afterwards just sounds like you've added noise, right? Movement is wow and flutter, the tape effect, and you've got random and fixed kind of LFO. And then you have a Juno style chorus, which is slow and fast. So let's have a look at saturation. Let's put this up all the way. Let's turn all that off. And the cool thing, of course, is when you start combining them, which we'll start doing on cool tracks. So pretty full on saturation there. It's got that harmonic kind of thing going on. And then drive is a lot more aggressive and drivey. It's a bit darker and smoother, right? Okay, let's have a look at movement. Let's start off with... That's your wobbly cassette tape, your VHS recordings, really great for that 80s vibe. And we put on fixed mode. It's a little, the LFO is fixed, so it's a little less random, more of a vibrato effect. Next, just let's look at the noise. So what I'm going to do is pause it so you can just listen to all the noise. We'll go through all the noises. We've got them post filter. So cassette 1, cassette 2. I'll just turn down the, bring the track down here, hear the noise better. Cassette 2, 3. Cassette 4. Micro cassette, which is the sign of the ones. It's interesting noise there. Reel to reel. It's got some nice little dust going on. Reel to reel 2. Vinyl crackle. A bit more white noise with that crackle. A bit more filtered. Similar to, quite interesting. And vinyl 6. So you have different choices, whichever noise you kind of want. Obviously, you could probably use 2 different instances of plugin and mix some noise if you want, your reel to reel and your vinyl. So let's just go to reel to reel because I really like that. And let's have a look at the pre and post resampler. So let's put the filters on and you'll hear the difference here. And pre. So that makes the noise sound kind of embedded into the track, where this sounds like it's been after it's sampled, like you've gone and sampled it and then put it to a reel to reel. Obviously that's a bit too extreme. I think the noise also gets aliasing distortion too. And the last is chorus. Sounds like a chorus. Slow and fast. I think this could be really cool if you use it as a send effect. So you send to the chorus and you add a bit of this, maybe. Some saturation. And you've got a cool noisy chorus, which you might do in a minute. So let's just set up a cool little tone first. So we're going to start from the beginning. We're just going to dial in some cool kind of sound. Bypassed. So you can use it as an intro there. You kind of get that point. It helps you kind of build up. What would be really cool is a mono button and a dry wet. I think that would be really awesome for this plugin, but it's free, so you can't complain too much. So insta lo-fi beats right there. So let's go have a look at it on separate sources. So I've got some just random kind of things I've put together here. We have drums, we have bass, and a little bit of vocal. So let's just start off with drums. Basically, you can do the same thing as I did before, kind of get real lo-fi. Of course, you could automate the drums for little sections, you know. All right, let's loop it. So yeah, mono would be really cool here. Okay, what about on some vocals? Could it be a cool vocal effect? Let's find out.
All we know is falling down. We don't know where we're going now. No, all we know is falling down, down, down. All we know is falling down. We don't know where we're going now. No, all we know is falling down, down,
So the dry
down.
for reference.
All we know is falling down. We don't know where we're
Insta lo-fi.
going now. No, all
You can get that kind of
know is falling down, down,
sampled
down.
record kind of vibe. If we take that
All
off.
we know is falling down. We don't know where we're going now. No, all.
Or you could go for something completely different.
All we know is falling down. We don't know where we're going now. No, all we know is falling down, down, down.
Yeah, use the chorus to good effect, or maybe even on the fast.
All we know is falling down. We don't know where we're going down. No, all we know is falling down, down, down.
So it works well for that. Now, the last thing on bass, I want to, try it on the bass. Just put it on there. But I've also set it up as a chorus send, like I was saying before, which could be really cool. So let's do this bass.
All we know.
About a bit of a bass distortion. Definitely a cool effect there. What about trying some of that sampling? All the aliasing is nice. Almost a vocal quality to it. Kind of interesting there, those aliasing artifacts. Okay, let's try it as a send effect to a chorus. So I've made this kind of noisy Juno style chorus, got the chorus on full, a little bit of filtering, a little bit of saturation. Without it. What we can do is send it pre-fader and you can hear what it just sounds like. This is just the chorus. Could use that so that the bass doesn't get the like low end of the bass doesn't get chorused. Let's bring that back up. So you can use it that way. Of course, we could then just use it as a saturation send to, parallel saturation chorus. So you kind of get the idea. It is definitely a very, very cool plugin. Lots of features. Like I said, dry wet would be nice, mono would be nice, but it's fine. You can use a mono plugin and you can use it as a send. I really like the resampling filter. I think with the pre and post, you can just get everything from those aliasing artifacts to a kind of smoother, low pass, old school kind of hardware deal. You got saturation, you've got the movement is really nice. I like that. It's a lot like some of the cassette emulations I have. Real nice. Having the noise is great and you can dial it in. And the chorus sounds pretty all right. Is it going to replace my other choruses? Probably not, but it's fun. It's a nice sounding chorus. So go check out Origin if you want some of that lo-fi flavor in your songs. I'll leave the link down below. And as always, please like and subscribe. Free Plugin Fridays every Friday, and I will see you next time.